everybody. Welcome here today. Absolutely delighted to have with me Aarran Ellis. How are you, Aarran? You okay, sir?
Very well indeed, Simon. Very well indeed. How are you?
Good, good, good. Pink as ever. That's the main thing. Looking forwards now that horrible summer's behind us. Don't like, well, there wasn't much sun actually, which is what I'm not particularly good in sun, as you can probably tell from my size. So, no, I'm looking forward to the wintry months and crucially, the business end of the year in terms of conferences and everything else when people...
The fun time.
Come to good people like ourselves and say, here's my demands, make us better, basically. So I'm looking good. Aarran, you're head of sales over at Homeflow. And Homeflow's yeah, and Homeflow's had a really busy time, hasn't it? Really, I mean, there was the last 18 months has been made up. I mean, it won the biggest deal of all, didn't it? Well, all of those countrywide websites, you've been rolling out all those different brands and everything else there. Not content with that, though, you've then gone out and that you acquired the area software. And what we're here today to do is to talk about, obviously, how you've actually changed it, haven't you? As I understand it, that's now become Leadmanager. And you're giving us an update on that and how it's changed, evolved, and what it's doing for people. That pretty much the score, is it?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right. I mean, we acquired Area back in November last year. And over the last, nearly a year, we've been working with the system and trying to take it out to our client base. So a lot of our existing client base are now moving across to Area as it was. We've now rebranded it, as you rightly say, about 6-8 weeks ago. We officially changed it on the URL, so it's now a Leadmanager. And yeah, we're starting to really see some traction from not just existing clients moving across to the Leadmanager, but also new businesses that are looking at improving their lead management process.
I was going to say, is it a case of Ron Seal? Is it does what it says on the tin? Is that what the idea is?
Exactly
that. There is, lead management is such a critical. I mean, as you know, we do our consultatively calls here at Kerfuffle, and although we deal in a weird and wonderful a myriad different ways, lead management is almost it comes up in some elements on pretty much every MOT we do with agents. So do you want to just? It's quite an amorphous term, though. So can you talk us through what you mean by lead management and how you guys can help?
Yeah. I suppose the best way to look at it is it's someone that's made an inquiry. So we look at, and we're probably better known for our websites rather than our lead management side of things.
Yeah.
But it's all to do with trying to improve the consumer's interaction with the agent, but also the quality interactions that the agent have. So if I am Aarran, I'm on Rightmove, I'm looking for a property, I inquire about a property, it varies depending who the agent is, if I'll actually get a response. A lot of agents are so busy, especially if it's lettings, they've had hundreds of inquiries on that one property. And the chances of me getting a response is quite slim unless I keep ringing them or whatever. But if it's sales, slightly different. They normally pick up the phone and talk to you, depending where you are, kind of price banding and depending how engaged the agents are. Yeah. But the beauty of Leadmanager is every inquiry gets a response. So they get a response that says, thanks so much for your inquiry about 2 Acacia Avenue. Tell us a bit more about yourself. So it asks for, sorry, Simon, go on.
No, I was just going to say, but this is where it does get really, really interesting, isn't it? Because Area was a fantastic, tool in its own right. Created famously by Kai over at Keaton's. Based around a real issue he had in that very, very busy business. What I love though is you've got this coming together of what those guys have done, and you've evolved because. I'm right in thinking that you guys at Homeflow had things like Boomerang in your kit bag, didn't you? That helped all this stuff. And so this coming together is now making, I suppose it's the sum of the parts. It's becoming even more important by tying those two together, isn't it?
Exactly that. And I think it's streamlining a lot of those processes. So as you say, Boomerang, a former product or an older product, used to be the autoresponder. Leadmanager's just got so much more to it. There's so much more interaction and so much more that can be done with it. So you, as I started to say, you get that automatic response saying, what's your availability? Me as Aarran, the consumer looking for a property, I can say, oh, I'm available Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday afternoons. That will come back to the agent. If I'm still on there as the consumer and I'm looking, I go, oh, tell us a bit more about yourself. Okay, well, I'm 6'2". No, I start to go into the type of property I'm after, my kind of pricing criteria, the search, what I'm looking for. But I may have said on Rightmove, I don't really want to interact about a property. Yeah. But now I've got a branded email from Aarran Ellis Estates or Joe Bog Estates. I can actually go, oh, actually, I trust this brand. I know who these are. I have got a property to sell. And when that all comes through to the agent, Aarran Ellis Estates, it comes through. And as the agent, I can have that first bit of information I receive is top quality. I can see who Aarran is, when he's available, but also his criteria, his position, and if he's got a property to sell. And the way the system works, it prioritizes them. So the more information I provide as a consumer, the better it is for the agent, because they get a lead qualified score against it. Yeah. And if I'm at 80-90%, when I come in the morning, that's going to be my first phone call I make to that one that's at 80-90%. And when I have that first interaction, I'm not going into the minutiae of, oh, what's your name? What's your number? It's straight into, I see you've inquired about 2 Acacia Avenue. I can see you've got a property at number 4 Acacia Avenue. And you're getting into the nitty gritty. It's a far more educated conversation, and it's warm. You're kind of straight in there.
And Aarran, it's a real good point, isn't it? Because there's nothing more certain to piss off the savvy consumer these days than making them reiterate and repeat themselves over and over again, don't they, to give that information. Those people, they don't mind, I think, submitting the information once. They understand if there's something for them. But if you then go straight back to the start again, go back to go or whatever else, you're going to quite quickly end up with somebody frustrated, aren't you?
That's it. And I mean, the beauty of this, so again, from an agent's perspective, I suppose, you can actually, where you're qualifying the leads you're talking to or the people you're talking to, it actually allows you to work far smarter. So rather than having to go, oh God, I've got 50 leads in this morning, I've got to find the time to deal with amongst my valuations and my viewings, you go, actually, those 5, they're the 5 I'm going to call. The others I'm going to drop them an email or whatever it might be. You've got that, you can prioritize, and it just allows you to work a bit smarter. There's even on the letting side, we've got something in beta at the moment called Lead Shield. But especially from a busy lettings office, you might get, I don't know, you put a property on, you might get 100 leads come back on that property. And as a neg, you just don't know where to start. I've got 100 leads to try and deal with, plus all these calls, the phone going, etc. Yeah. What Lead Shield does, it allows you to, well, there's 2 stages to it. We've got a fast track option where they can add more information. So they can add their income information, where they live. So again, it's qualifying them, but they've added a lot of information. So again, when you come in, rather than having 100, you might have 5 that have completed the fast track information. So they're the 5 you're going to talk to and try and put in for the viewing. But again, this Lead Shield just allows you to, if they haven't added qualifying information, so who they are, their address, some contact information, you can have it so it automatically closes them off. So until they provide that information, it's not hitting the team's dashboard. So they're just focusing on those that have provided the information. They're a serious lead. So if you've got busy office, busy team, it just gives them some time back in their diary to actually focus on what's going to make money.
And do you encourage at all, obviously getting people to fill in anything these days is hard. Does the consumer, does the potential client, the applicant, the tenant, whatever else, do they understand that? Do you encourage them to fill in more and that they will get a better level of service, or is it just left kind of assumed?
It's a bit of both. It's because it's so bite-sized. As they do something, they get something back. So they'll always, it's kind of a transactional experience, and it's quite a nice experience rather than being faced with a massive page of information.
Yeah.
You get what's your availability? When are you available? Oh, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Perfect. Bang. Another one will come through again. We know you're available. The agent will be in touch soon, but tell us a bit more about yourself. And they're in control of what information they're giving. And we used to talk years ago, back in agency days, it was all about touching the clients, not like that, but it was the different touches or contacts you're having with them. And Leadmanager just gives you that touch without actually having to be there. So when you speak to them, you've already had 3 or 4 touch points, and it's really good in that sense.
Well, I was going to ask you why do agents actually need lead manager, but I think it leads straight in perfectly from your last point, and it is that point about tech can be perceived as being cold, and certainly tech, when automated and done wrong, is does feel cold. But the flip side is there's a massive reward there, isn't it? If you do nurture them along in the right way there and get it right, it works entirely the other way, that actually they feel this is a company that understands them, is clearly asking these questions for the right reason as well. So nurture is overused in terms of tech, but this clearly is nurturing them towards where you want to go, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's trying to give something back to them, so they do have the experience as a smooth one, and they've had a response. The biggest thing, again, if you look at, I inquire about 3 different properties, if I'm lucky, with 3 different agents, the level of service they'll get from those 3 different agents will be totally different. One might be straight on the phone because they've only got that one property. One might be 10 days later when they get to you. The extremes of how leads are handled is so extreme in the market. It's ridiculous at the moment.
We always ask everyone who jumps on these calls if there's a stat that kind of blows your mind. And you guys, you came back and highlighted this, the study that you did, I think it was, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but it's highlighting that 39% of home sellers are sat waiting for an estate agent's response. The study revealed that the average response time was 229 business minutes, which is almost 4 hours, with the slowest response time being a whopping 2,260 business minutes, or almost 5 working days.
Yeah.
I mean, that's proper afterthought country, isn't it? Getting that.
Quite scary.
But the average time. Am I surprised? I mean, maybe that's why that Pareto stat works, because it is literally the top 20% that really get back to it. Because there's a lot of different studies, aren't there? I don't know if it was included in this one, but I know I've seen across all industries, but certainly validated in the UK estate agency. The quicker you can respond to that lead, the greater the chance you have, and it's massively disproportional, isn't it? To get to them quickly, and you will have a better chance of converting.
Goes back to the old days with the phone calls, doesn't it? If you answer it within 3 rings, the longer it goes beyond 3 rings, the less chance you are of doing it.
Fall off bounce, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I suppose that's that. We asked that question, why do people need it? And that's a perfect illustration of it just in itself. But actually, it's more than that, as well as if agents in particular, lots of businesses do, you see people deem the inquiry as a tire kicker, the famous phrase. And I always hate
or an
it.
ice cream licker.
Yeah, I've been called that. But I think that's absolutely it, isn't it? Because there's no clearer way to turn that person into a time waster than if you don't deal with them seriously and don't go back to them at all. And you're never going to know, are you, if that's the case?
No, exactly. And I think the beauty of this is it saves you having to do that initial, they are an ice cream licker or a tire kicker. It's already qualified them, so they're naturally shuffling out the tire kickers. So it's just those good quality ones you're getting at the top, because they're spending the time qualifying themselves and giving you the information to have that quality conversation.
They're not doing it out of fun, are they? So if they're going to all that time, effort to do it, it's up to you to give the greatest chance. And the other thing is as well, that need for the immediate redemption, it has to be delivered now, whereas we know the buying public are so much more in inquiry stage, research stage these days before getting ready to commit. And all of those things they're using to judge which agent. And if you've not bothered going back to them, or you've dealt them a slack, many, what was it, 5 business days there, you're not getting anywhere on their radar, are you?
Exactly. And I think the beauty of Leadmanager, it doesn't matter if they inquire after the pub on a Friday night, they're still going to get that response. They'll get a reply. So they've, like, blimey, we've already had an engagement. They're an engaged customer. If you compare that, or an engaged company, compare that at the other end, where they're going to take 5 days to come back to them. If I'm looking at selling my property, it's the one that's come back to me on the night I've actually inquired that I'm going to be speaking to, not the one that's taken me 5 days to even acknowledge the fact I've inquired about something. It's
got you.
Yeah.
And you know, looking at the benefits from the flip side of obviously using Leadmanager, one of the first things that, apart from those so clear, you know, the response times and everything else, the professionalism of it as well is, although it shouldn't be, it's the most obvious one he's overlooked. I mean, so many people are doing this on the back of a, you know, really
Packet the best of
template, or you know, it's no thought effort gone in at all. You know, I've seen what you guys do, and they are, you know, as well as the websites, these are genuinely top level, you know, feels prime, or you know,
looks professional, it's quality,
yeah.
and it's consistent. That's the crucial thing there, where they're doing it in their own emails. I might have an email I send, Dave might have another one, you might have another. This is just nice and consistent. So from a brand perspective, every time that email goes out, it's a consistent experience from.
And that's another big one, isn't it? Because actually, you see in many, if you haven't got that, if you haven't got that systemized, then what you come down to is down to the member of the team who deals with it. Some, as we know, won't do it at all. Some will do it, and it'll be broken English, whatever else, misspelling, whatever else.
Awful grammar
information, and then the best ones will get there. But what it's a complete lucky dip there, isn't it? Between not only the individuals in your business, or if you're lucky enough to have multiple branches, the stand variance there can be horrific.
Yeah, definitely. It is much. Yeah, from an owner's point of view, if you've got multi branches, and you can drill in, there's some great reporting in there where you can see how the negs are working. So who's actually performing well, who's handling the leads, who's really engaging with them.
Talk me through that, because that's the classic case, isn't it? The often overused phrase, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. But it's overused because it's one of the truest ones that I think you can see. So what information, I mean, because obviously we both come from our CRM backgrounds, what does the likes of this offer over that those ones do? In my view, it's always been down to, well, tools like Leadmanager allow you to specialize and to go far more than the CRMs can. Is that
it's all that bit before the CRM, isn't it? This is my funnel here. Sorry, this is me doing a funnel. It's that bit before it hits the CRM, because so much of that you just don't see, and you've got no visibility of it normally. A lot of the systems, they'll bring those leads in, but a lot of people are still having them come into their inbox, so they still don't see. You can't see how many actual leads Rightmove are bringing, or how many actual valuations Supplier are bringing. Yeah. Within the reporting side of, I better not forget On the Market, or what On the Market are doing. But within Leadmanager, you've got the ability to run a report and see actually which portal's working best for me. You can see where your leads are coming from, where your quality is, but then you drill down a bit further and you can see which neg is handling the most leads, which neg is fastest at handling them, so how quickly they're engaging with those leads. So again, if you see Simon's a bit slack on a Friday, it's obviously been a busy Thursday night, you can see that kind of consistency, and you can plot it over a month, a quarter, a given period, and you can just kind of see that interaction level from the different lead sources, because it can be the various portals, your website. There are other ways we can sort of plug things in. But having that granularity of what's working from a head of marketing point of view, it's really, really insightful for them to see where they're spending their budget as well.
It's hitting every aspect here that's most vital, isn't it? Let's be honest. From the whole sales point of view about dealing with those leads and converting them there, you know, the marketing to actually fill this thing into the top of the hopper to make sure that each lead is not wasted. And if you are paying all, as we know, as they tell us week in, week out, if you're paying these high figures for the portals to go on, what's the point in them not, you know, eating every last part of the lemon there, isn't it? In terms, but then that last piece that I think you're going into as well is, which is wonderful in terms of a many nuanced aspects of what Leadmanager can do, a training and development tool. So you can see who are the guys that are doing it right, and it might not be, you know, you can see the ones that are obviously responding quickest. You would expect there to be a corresponding, obviously, conversion rate there of leads, and it stops that sort of approach. Well, why should I be doing this? Well, actually, you keep telling us that those leads are tire kickers, and that's not what not worth doing. But Jack over there responds to them 4 times quicker than you and gets double the leads. That gives you much more knowledge to be able to manage the business, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, makes an awful lot of sense, and it just it just works. Just being able to have that visibility from a manager or an owner's perspective gives you a bit more of an appreciation of not just the volume of stuff you're getting through, but how you're handling that volume too.
And I'm guessing, obviously, what dovetails perfectly with the Homeflow websites. But is this a standalone product? Can you have it, for example, working outside of other websites as well?
Yeah, by all means. We'll basically, you'll have an inquiry form on your website,
Yep.
and we'll just plug Leadmanager into that. So it's no problem at all. No
Cool.
problem at all.
That's really, really good. Okay, so I feel like I'm asking a bit too much here, but what other tricks have you got up your sleeve at the moment then? Because obviously this is, the period of change for you guys and the and evolution and all these enhancements are fantastically exciting. So what should what should estate agencies know that you're up to at the moment?
I think a lot of our effort is around Leadmanager and getting Leadmanager to be part and parcel of what we do. We've got a special offer on at the moment with if you take a Leadmanager trial, you can get a discount on your website. But we've also on a new website.
Yeah.
But we're integrating Leadmanager into all the websites. So if you come to us for a website, you'll get a version of Leadmanager as standard. Okay. So you can already get the benefits on that kind of free version, if you like. It handles the leads via your website, so your website leads, and then you upgrade for the full edition to get your portal inquiries in there. But again, we've got a free trial on there where you get the full system as part of it.
So we were talking about it earlier. So full Kerfuffle members that want to come over, take advantage of this. It's 60 days free trial, so you can literally kick the tires on this as much as you want to and see how it's going to deliver. So it's not
use it in anger.
If or when. Yeah, that's really good. And I think that's where so many people these days, they're so nervous of buying suppliers in general, but PropTech particularly, and not having that ability to work out the box. So for you guys to be able to say we're confident enough that we can deliver this and show the value, puts a lot of testament into well, it's obviously why you bought the product.
Yeah, it is a great bit of kit. I mean, the other thing we're working on now as well, we've just started to do instant chat. So a slightly disruptive model rather than being a lot of the providers out there, it's just on a monthly subscription. We charge per lead, slightly different model. But I think where it sits well is for those smaller agencies. So 3, 4, 5 office, it sits really nicely
because they can pay like the hundreds of pounds that some of these ones do. You can literally do it on the thing that matters most is, are we going to get paid for this ostensibly?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a really nice, smooth little widget we put in the website, and it works really, really well. So
love a good widget. Just you were talking there though about for the Homeflow clients. Do Homeflow clients get any benefits from Leadmanager? Are they able to do anything more? Is it more integrated, or does it kind of just work, verbatim off whatever website?
It'll work verbatim off of whatever website, because it's a standalone login to Leadmanager. So it's cloud-based. You can access it on your phone, on your iPad, on your Mac, your PC. It doesn't matter. Cross-browser, cross-device. It's like the dream most CRMs have been after for all these years. It just works. It just works. So if you are out and about and you want to pick a lead up or look at a lead, you can access it. You can interact with it. There's even a call recording function in there as well. So you can have, you can make your calls through the system. So again, from a manager's perspective or an owner's perspective, you can listen to the calls the negs are making and how great they are or not, and where there's training opportunities. So yeah, it's really, really good in that sense.
Excellent. Well, this is a great bit of kit. I mean, I knew it previously, and I know what you guys have done with it in terms of integrating it more is only making it more and more powerful for agents. So if guys, you're out there, you're a bit frustrated at that, you seem to be getting lots of leads, but you're not converting them for whatever reason. Before you start looking back at any other thing, you need to make sure that you haven't got a leaky bucket, haven't you? Make sure that all those leads that are coming in the top, and by all means, you can always go back and then talk to the portals that are sending you these leads, but doing it from a position of strength and knowledge is the key thing here, isn't it? Because they're going to have much more respect for you if you can be absolutely clear about the levels of leads that you're giving them and maybe not delivering, rather than just kind of, well, this just isn't working for me.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense to be able to run it through in that sense. Yeah. And we'd happily talk through with anyone. Give us a shout. We'll
So
talk
there,
through.
yes. Well, obviously, go to the Homeflow page on kerfuffle.com. There's an inquiry now. Aarran, how else can they get to you?
Give me a call on the mobile if you like. 07846 612 210. Or
I'm going to share this everywhere now, Aarran, and you're going to be getting all sorts of calls. So that's fine.
I don't mind.
You put it out there. That's really, really good. Do you? Just one last thing, I suppose. Does it have integrations with CRMs at the moment? Is that on the agenda? Is it needed?
So, combination there. So we've got you can use it standalone, and it works well standalone because it's still saving you a lot of time and that kind of function. It's really, really good. We have a couple of integrations. So Repeat is a nice, smooth integration. So funny that having both worked there. But yeah, we have a good integration with Repeat where it passes all the information across.
So literally, you need to do even less, basically. Is that the clear? Okay, great.
Exactly that. There's a button that says share with CRM, and it pushes all the information across.
Beautiful. Which
is really simple, really simple. And the benefit of having that is it stops cluttering the CRM with unqualified rubbish. So when you push them across, they're genuine people that you're going to.
I mean, that again is a massive one, isn't it? I mean, I remember when we rolled out Repeat into Australia, and some of the guys there were absolutely brutal with their, with their management around applicants. Not the hundreds or even thousands, and people never archiving them out. Some of the businesses we're working with there would only keep 50. It was almost like a digital hot box. It was there.
I was going to say a hot box.
Everything that was in there was just absolutely motivated, and you knew you could work for. And I think that is the problem with with digital, isn't it? Over what you can touch and feel, is stuff can become a black hole quite easy if you don't stay on top of that.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the beauty of that transition. The other system we have an integration with is MRI. So again, another nice system.
Our friends have it, yeah, good stuff. So they're obviously ahead of the game, yeah.
Which is good. And that's about it in terms of integrations at the moment, but we're always looking at...
Come on, CRM companies, you've heard there, two of the biggest doing it. You need to be talking to Aarran and the team over there about getting that sorted. Look, I think the wonderful thing is, as you said before, is that it's standalone. It can do everything it needs to out of the box, and that key point about. So this isn't one of those projects where sometimes we'll be advising our clients, if you're looking at a new CRM, or maybe actually a website, you need to set aside 6 months to really bed that down properly there. Other people need something, they're looking at the end of the year, what can we get in there, what can we make work and start working on? Well, you've got 60 days to assess whether this is going to be one of the big projects and indeed products for you.
And we'll hold your hand through that trial too. So we will engage with you through that trial. You're not just kind of
it's not like self-service then, so you're not
no.
Okay,
we'll project manage you through the process. So probably Ross McCann, our McGowan will go through the system with you in detail and do regular check-ins to see how you're getting on with it. If you're struggling with anything, what he can help you with. So yeah, we'll hold.
You're not going to argue with him, isn't he? Isn't he a double black belt?
Yeah, he is. I've just given myself a black eye there, I think. It's
no, as long as you're just not nasty. Okay, cool. Aarran, this is great stuff. Really, really good. I think it's such a what's great about it is it's not although it seems such an obvious one, it's quite an uncontested area, isn't it? There isn't a huge amount. I mean, there's loads of generic tools out there, but generic, just like with websites, who's got the time, energy to teach people what estate agency, or as most of those will come and say, real estate is to you. You want to be getting on with this straight away and making that work. Great, really good. Okay, mate. Well, I think it sounds very, 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 very interesting. Everybody getting in contact if you fancy giving this a go. It's certainly one that I think everyone should have on their agenda.
Perfect.